what about American Pie 5?
There is a script out there, I'll put it that way.
And have you...
I can't tell you anything.
After American Pie revolutionized the teen sex comedy, spawning 3 further sequels and nearly half a dozen spin-offs.
Just wanted to say sweet dreams.
Yeah, good night, Mom.
I think he's tried to watch some illegal channels here.
Illegal channel?
After American Pie's leading man Jason Biggs would become one of Hollywood's most in-demand actors for a short period of time, that dried up faster than it takes the average person to bake a pie, let alone do this with it. After American Pie would earn more than $235 million worldwide on a budget of only $11 million.
Top summer movies to see after Star Wars.
Austin Powers.
American Pie.
Which makes us ask the question, why American Pie?
It's kind of tough to remember this now, but 1999 was a banner year for the movie industry, and I do mean banner. Not only did we get a jaw-dropping amount of films from some of the industry's greatest ever, including Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, Michael Mann's The Insider, and Martin Scorsese's Bringing Out the Dead, but newcomers who would prove their mettle over the next decade, like the Wachowskis, Sofia Coppola, and Spike Jonze, all made hit films that year as well. And while most of these films were steeped in drama, 1999 also saw the release of one of the most popular comedies of recent memory, American Pie, directed by Paul Weitz, with an unofficial assist from his brother Chris and written by Adam Hertz. This film was a raunchy teen sex comedy, the likes of which audiences hadn't seen since the heyday of this type of film with Porky's back in the early 80s.
20th Century Fox would like to introduce you to Pee-wee and his pals.
No one remembers Porky's back in the early 80s. It followed the tale of 4 young friends played by Jason Biggs, Chris Klein, Thomas Ian Nicholas, and Eddie Kaye Thomas, who all make a pact to lose their virginity by prom night, and co-starred the likes of Alyson Hannigan, Reid, Mena Suvari, Shannon Elizabeth, Seann William Scott, Eugene Levy, and Jessica Coolidge, to name just a few. Seriously, this cast was stacked, and while it might ultimately be remembered best for what Jason Biggs did to the titular pie, or for that scene that introduced teenage boys all around the world to the wonders of webcams for the first time, seriously, this movie might have started cam girls.
What am I gonna do, huh? Broadcast her over the internet?
Yeah.
You can do that?
The majority of the cast have largely floundered despite this film's immense success. Today I'm going to go through some of the most memorable actors to fill you in on what they got up to after this film and where they are today. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Marlon Palmer back at it again with a brand new video. This one taking a look at the cast of American Pie and asking, where are they now? I don't know about you guys, but this movie is burned into my mind's eye and probably will always be. What can I say? I was around 13 when this film first came out, so I was pretty much their target audience, and man, did it stick. But despite my affinity for the film, even I've lost touch with where most of these cast is today, so we're all about to find out together. Be sure to let me know what you think by following me on Instagram at ThatDudeMcFly. Let's get into the story. We begin with the man who you never want to invite over if you got a freshly baked pie resting on your windowsill. That's right, Jason Biggs, who played the main character of Jim. Jim? After Biggs thrust himself into that role, figuratively and literally, his career went through nearly as many ups and downs as he put that poor pie through. He followed up American Pie with films like Loser, Saving Silverman, and even Woody Allen's Anything Else, all of which were meant to turn him into the next big thing. But it never really panned out that way. Thankfully, Jason's career would undergo a bit of a renaissance with the success of his television role as Piper Chapman's fiance, Larry, on the hit Netflix show Orange is the New Black. Oh, and don't worry, in that show, he has no spine either.
Where would you like me to put it?
Up your ass.
There's no room. Apparently my head's already up there.
Next up is Alyson Hannigan, who played Jim's eventual love interest Michelle and introduced us all to the iconic phrase.
And this one time at band camp?
And while a bunch of people probably know her best for that line, a whole generation of fantasy television fans also fawn over Alyson for her portrayal of Willow on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In fact, it could pretty easily be argued that Alyson has had the greatest career out of nearly any cast member of American Pie, outside of perhaps Eugene Levy, thanks to her work in television. If you need proof, look no further than How I Met Your Mother, where she played one half of everyone's favorite TV couple, Marshall and Lily.
Hey, if you know what you're doing, 2 minutes is all you need.
Run till that.
That's actually a hilarious show until they start making fun of Canadians. That's where I changed the channel.
Why are you guys even a country?
Now, no teenage comedy would be complete without the quintessential jock character, and that's exactly the role that Klein filled with this performance as Oz. But unlike most jocks, Oz had a heart of gold, and all he really wanted to do was find his one true love.
Hey, that's a game.
I'm not playing.
You missing the game for us?
No, I'm missing the game for you.
After imbuing this role with the type of warmth we don't normally come to expect, Chris was poised to take over the acting world and landed some big roles in films like Election and We Were Soldiers. But in 2005, he was arrested for drunk driving and would eventually look to get help with his problems a few years later in 2010. Since then, Chris has cleaned up his life, married himself a travel agent, and turned his focus towards a television career where he's shown up in series like Wilfred and the 5th season of The Flash.
Every matter will die.
Up next is Mena Suvari, who played Heather, the girl that Oz ends up falling in love with.
Do what makes you happy.
All right. Listen, thanks for understanding.
Yeah.
These two wind up being the only two not to consummate their relationship by the end of the film, with Heather being presented as an innocent choir girl who wants to wait, the exact opposite from her performance in the Academy Award-winning film American Beauty, that saw a release the same year as American Pie, and arguably did more for Mena's career than this teen comedy. Like the majority of her fellow castmates, Mena tried to keep her career in feature films going after this by hit starring in films like A Rumor Has It and even Loser back alongside Jason Biggs, but she had far more success with her later roles in television, which included appearances on Chicago Fire, American Woman, and American Horror Story. Thomas Ian Nicholas might now be the most well-known actor from American Pie main cast, and yet back then he was selected to star as the de facto leader of the group, Kevin, so the producers must have felt like he was gonna have a big career.
All right, I got an idea, but it's gotta stay between us. It's really simple, we just gotta make an agreement. Or, no, it's more than an agreement.
What, a bet?
A pact.
Unfortunately, that never really panned out. Despite entering American Pie with a fairly lengthy filmography as a child actor in shows like Who's the Boss, Married with Children, and the movie Rookie of the Year, Thomas' acting career was taking a bit of a step back as of late so that he can focus on other creative projects, including recording some original music like the single My Generation, which ended up on the soundtrack to the 4th film American Reunion. Most recently, he can be seen alongside Mickey Rourke in the 2020 film Adverse.
You better hurry up. You're actual psychopaths who enjoy killing and torturing.
Give me my money.
I cannot pay you.
I said, give me my money!
Tara Reid was probably American Pie's biggest breakout star initially, thanks to her infectious, bubbly personality and sultry voice.
Dear Miss Latham, we're sorry, but after keeping you on the waiting list for the past couple of months, we've decided that you are now rejected.
Shut up!
You got in.
Yes! I love you.
But after future roles in the likes of My Boss's Daughter and Josie and the Pussycats all bombed and quickly became overshadowed by her party-hard lifestyle, she became more frequently seen on the covers of tabloids than she did in movie screens. Seriously, I'm not kidding. If you ever find yourself bored with time to kill on the internet, please don't Google the phrases Tara Reid and pepperoni. And if you do, don't say we didn't warn you.
Oh, drop some pepperoni on there. You know what, that works.
She finally managed to somewhat rejuvenate her acting career around 2013 when she began appearing in the Sharknado series for Sci-Fi. But I mean, if that's your biggest calling card, how successful are you really?
What drew you to the first Sharknado film?
To be honest, when I read it, it was the worst movie I've ever read in my entire life. I was like, this is so dumb, it's not even funny.
Sharknado is great for stoners though. That's like Oscars worthy for stoners. We've arrived at Seann William Scott, who played the unforgettable role of Stifler, known for his crude personality and notorious parties.
What's wrong?
Following this breakout role, Seann became one of the most in-demand actors working in comedy and starred in a string of hits like Old School, Dude, Where's My Car, Role Models, and Road Trip. Much like with Alyson Hannigan, he's maintained a strong career despite the fact that he was clearly typecast as a lovable goofball that he played in nearly every single movie I just listed off. More recently, he's had some major success with a voiceover role as Crash in the Ice Age series, and he also stepped into the television revival of Lethal Weapon when the original lead, Klein, was let go for the 3rd and final season.
Hi. We were just chatting, and we're not going to do the big bag of socks deal today.
Now, Shannon Elizabeth might not have had much more than around 10 total minutes of screen time in American Pie, but man, did she make them count. I don't think any teenage boy who watches this film will ever forget her performance as a sexy foreign exchange student, Nadia, who Jim crushes on hard during the middle portion of this movie. I mean, just superb acting. She's a breakout star.
Here she is.
Did I miss anything?
God bless the internet.
After making a splash like that, Shannon would go on to appear in a number of films like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, 13 Ghosts, and Scary Movie. But her acting career really never took off the way we might have thought it would. Instead, she quickly transitioned to reality TV, appearing on Dancing with the Stars in 2008. These days, she doesn't do much acting at all. Instead, she spends a lot of time running a non-profit animal rescue organization she co-founded in Cape Town, South Africa, called Animal Avengers.
So I met Yana about 2 years ago. I was traveling around South Africa, just trying to learn about the poaching crisis and ways I could help.
You're probably wondering how she manages to keep this project afloat if she's not acting much, and the answer might surprise you. It turns out that Shannon is actually a kick-ass poker player, and she often competes in Las Vegas to help fund her passion project. I mean, she's even competed in the World Series of Poker.
Barry Greenstein's call means that Shannon Elizabeth has defeated Barry Greenstein. Shocker. She moves into the quarterfinals.
Now that we're approaching the end, let's look at Eddie Kaye Thomas, who's probably best known for being the intellectual dude that gets a leg up on his nemesis Stifler by sleeping with his mom.
Would you object if I said that you were quite striking?
Mr. Finch, are you trying to seduce me?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Ever since that triumph, Eddie has kept pretty busy, often appearing in bit roles and popping up in the likes of Freddy Got Fingered, as well as Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. But he's probably best known for his television work where he's provided the voice of Barry in American Dad since the series first started back in 2005. Of course, most of the attention he still gets these days still has to do with Stifler's mom.
What is the most frequent thing that you hear from fans?
People look at me and they point and they yell out, "Stifler's mom!"
And speaking of MILFs.
Dude, that chick's a MILF.
Jessica Coolidge turned in an unforgettable performance as Stifler's mom in American Pie, where she played a type of Mrs. Robinson for a new generation.
Stifler's mom.
Hey, Finchy.
This wonderfully talented comedienne has also appeared in a number of TV shows since then, including Nip and Tuck, Friends, Glee, Party Down, Sex and the City, and of course, Two Broke Girls. One thing's for sure, whichever project she's a part of, Jessica almost always manages to earn the biggest laughs out of anyone.
And who are you? I'm the last person you will see before you learn how to walk again.
Finally, before we go, let's check in with Eugene Levy, who played Jim's dad and offered his son some pretty unforgettable advice when he needed it the most.
This is the female form, and they have focused on the breasts, which are used primarily to feed.
Of course, by the time he appeared in American Pie, Eugene was already world famous for his role in the Canadian comedy series SCTV, not to mention those killer eyebrows. In 2008, he was awarded the Governor General's Performing Arts Award, a Lifetime Achievement Award that is considered one of Canada's highest artistic honors. Then a few years later, he was made a member of the Order of Canada, and in 2012, he was presented with the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal as well. This guy might be one of the most decorated Canadians ever. Shockingly, despite easily being the most successful actor of the bunch, Eugene is the only cast member from the original film to appear in nearly every single American Pie sequel to this point in time, bringing his total number of appearances in this series to 8. Of course, most recently fans will recognize him from his hit TV series Schitt's Creek, which basically won every award it possibly could have during this course of its final celebrated season.
You see, I told you I was good. I guess it's kind of ironical that the straightest role I've ever played lands me an Emmy for a comedy performance.
Man, that was a lot of people to cover, wasn't it? Now that we're done, which one of these actors made the biggest impressions on you during the course of American Pie? And if you could only bring one of these actors back for a possible new entry in the series, who would it be? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Before They're Famous so you can vote on who's next. Drop a few of your favorite memories from this franchise while you're at it in the comments down below. Follow me on Instagram at ThatDudeMcFly, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.